So I'm going to talk about the who, the where, the why, the what, the when. It's only going to be about 7 or 8 minutes. There's going to be a lot of powerful information in a very short period of time. But I encourage you to please make sure that you develop what we call a culture of security, a culture of awareness. Because in the States, according to all the statistics, over 45% of the Americans have already been hit with identity theft. So it's not a matter of if, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of how many times and how bad will it be. And so I want to highlight that to you, because it doesn't matter whether we're over here in India or we're in Dubai or we're down in South America, identity theft is the same. You know, to the crooks, we're just a series of digits. That's all we are. We're not humans. But yet you're going to see that your whole life can be disrupted very, very easily. And statistics, the numbers, there's a company out there called Privacy Rights, and when an American company has a breach, they're supposed to report it. Well, they've already reported 11 billion bits of information that have been compromised since 2005. Do you think there's a possibility that some of those companies didn't report that they had a breach? They didn't want to lose shareholder value. They didn't want to have regulators come in. They didn't want to lose customers. And they say 400,000 dead people open up bank accounts every year. My dad opened 2 bank accounts last year. We lost the dear soul 2 years ago. So it's one thing when you lose a loved one, but then you lose their identity after they're gone. And then they said that the Secret Service said that trafficking of data has surpassed the profitability of trafficking of drugs. And the reason is that when I get data from a company, how many times can I sell it? Where can I sell it? And the people I sold it to can sell it again. But if I was going to sell drugs or electronics, it's only a one-time sale. So more and more people are gravitating towards this new industry, and we're the ones that are the victims. So you ask yourself, have you been a victim of identity theft? By a show of hands, how many people have been a victim of identity theft in the room? Okay, you probably have been a victim. Let me show you why I say that. Because here's some of the companies that had breaches recently. Facebook, 540 million. That's the 4th time they broke 500 million in the last 2 years. And then we have Yahoo. It only says 200 million, right? They've lost approximately 3.1 billion records in the last 36 months. You were probably in that breach. And then we have Equifax, Capital One. Capital One, this is very interesting. One lady working for Amazon Web Services, which puts all the information in the cloud, took 106 million applications for credit. What else do they need to take your entire life away? When they arrested her, she had 30 terabytes of information from 65 other corporations. One person. So again, we can do everything we want about shredding machines and making sure we're not surfing here, not surfing there. But who has our data out there? That's the question that we want to ask ourselves. So as we go out there and look, this is what the crooks want. They want your digital DNA. It's not about your credit cards. It's not about your finances. We can put the money back in the bank. We can make more money. But what we can't get is our reputation back. And ask yourself, somebody says, well, how much of my DNA is out there? Well, ever since you first went to school. In the States, we have what's called a Social Security number. That's our identifier. You know, every time I got a job, every time I joined a health club, every time I got a hunting or a fishing license or sent the kids away to school, got jobs, all that information is out there and we can't get it back in. And when the crooks get a hold of this information and they start to play with it, we could be arrested for fraud, for forgery, for theft, for impersonation. And when the police come and arrest you, what are you going to say? You got the wrong person. Have you ever seen a law enforcement person that had somebody come up and said, oh, thank God that you finally got me, take me off to jail? It doesn't happen. You know, I used to be a military police in the United States Army. And, you know, arrested many, many people. The brigadier, same thing. And they all say, well, you got the wrong guy. I never got the right guy. I always got the wrong guy, right? But you see, this is what can happen. And when we look at it, they purchase it on the dark web. And they purchase it for about 20 or 30 cents. An entire person's identity. So the question is, but they also need the tools to do it too, right? But look here, what if it's impersonation? What if you lose your professional license? What if you need security clearances to get into the TSA, to get into a port, a shipping port, to work at an airport, to work at a chemical plant, with all the security, right here in this beautiful hotel, we have to go through security to get in the building, right? Well, what happens when your entire identity is compromised and you no longer can work your trade? And then what happens with everything else? Health insurance, auto insurance, utilities, disability, 401ks, your mortgages. Who do you turn to? You know, who's going to help you do all that? So we have to understand this is what the crooks want. Medical records. Who ever thought of their medical records? In the U.S., we passed a law. It's called the Electronic Medical Records Act. I love it. It means that if I'm traveling and I'm 1,000 miles from home, maybe from Texas, I go up to Chicago and I get in an accident, I want them to have my records. But if a perpetrator went out and used my records and altered my records, now all of a sudden I could get what? The wrong blood, the wrong treatment, could be catastrophic. So you see how digitization is bringing all of our data together? And that's what we call your digital DNA. And it goes even deeper. The Internal Revenue Service. In America, we don't want the Internal Revenue mad at us, right? That stands for the Internal Revenue Service. I actually tell people it's individuals representing Satan, is what I tell them, you know, because they come at you and they want all the money, they want the taxes. And then if we go out there and we look at the next slide, your children. See, children don't have credit reports until they're 18. Unfortunately, what the crooks do, they take the child's identity and they use it with another person. This young man, $23,000 behind on his credit cards, condo in foreclosure, 4th birthday. What are the chances they're going to get funding to go to college, to higher education? It's greatly diminished when they become a victim of identity theft. And then if we go in here and we look at phishing, vishing, this is how they get us. This is how they get us. It's a con game. They want us to click on something we never ever should have clicked on. So just real quickly, phishing and vishing, what's the difference? It's email and it's texting. You see, with phishing, that's where they send out the crazy email that you won the Nigerian lottery or you got this oil tanker at sea, and you know that it's phony. You can tell by looking at it. But they'll send out 10,000, 100,000, million at a time. They only need a few to make a lot of money. But then we got what we call is the vishing. They'll send out that fake email, but they'll back it up with phone calls. I've actually seen demonstrations where they got a baby that's got kids crying in the background, calling the bank, my husband's out of town, I need to get a new debit card, I need to get a new phone, and guess what? Bang, bang, bang. They get whatever they want. It's a confidence game. And then we've got vishing, which is the email scam and the phone scam, and smishing, which is texting, where they're actually going to go out there. You get the free offers. Everybody wants a free offer. They want dinner. They want a Walmart gift card. But don't worry about it. If you get these things, just ignore them. Don't ever give people valuable information over the phone. Use double authentication. And I've got some web address for you at the end. You can actually go in and get all these details. Spearfishing. Spearfishing is brutal. It passes all the spam filters. This is where they follow somebody at work. They know who you deal with. They know what your capacity is in the organization. And they'll actually target you. And it goes through all the spam filters. And once you click on it, they're into everything. And then the senior executives, they're not alone. That's the big one. That's what we call the big fish. It's called whaling. This is where they're going to go after the C-suite, the CEOs, the CFOs. And they're going to take tons of money from the corporation. So as I close it down, I ask you, please understand, all your digital devices, we have iPads, we have tablets, right? We have all the digital devices. We got what's called the Internet of Things. We want the internet, we want it on everything, and when do we want it? Now. And if we're a manufacturer or we're a tech company and we come out with a new gadget, we want it in the market before somebody else gets it. So we sacrifice security for the comfort of people getting the information quicker. This is what we call the Internet of Things. And it opens up vandalism, it opens up entry, it opens up breaches. You got the dark web, the deep web. This is where all the counterfeit stuff is sold. And all they got to do is put the Tor browser and they're in the dark web. They can buy heroin, ecstasy, morphine, speed, ship it by Federal Express using our stolen identity. So when the authorities intercept it, who do they come to? They come to us. Then they got driver's license, hacking, online courses, how to become a cyber crook. If you don't want to go take the course, you can go in and hire a hacker for $35. They'll break into anything. And then, of course, they can go to conferences just like we are here today in Mumbai. They can go in and learn how to do it. So here's what you need to do. You need to be ever vigilant. All of your mobile devices, all of your malware, your smart TVs, the baby monitors, the security systems, the cell phones, even the Ring doorbell. How many people have heard of the Ring doorbell? It's huge in the States, right? You know, my wife can be 100 miles away, and if somebody comes up the drive, the Ring doorbell tells us. It's being hacked. It's owned by Amazon. He's got more money than anybody else on the planet. And he can't even get a doorbell to run without being breached. So again, we have to be careful. We have to be ever vigilant, because like I said in the video, nobody's going to do it. Please take a picture of this slide. Please. How many people here have, I'm going to close with this, how many people have antivirus software on your mobile device? By show of hands. 3, 4, 5? But you have it on all of your laptops, right? And 70% of your visits to the web are on your handheld device. So this is the software that I use. It's called Lookout. It's free. You can download it on your phone, whether you got an Android or you got an iPhone. It'll back up all your data. It'll give you a missing device. It'll be safe browsing. It'll tell you if there's malware. You can get the enhanced version. In the States, it's like $2.30 a month. But please consider putting something on your mobile device. Please consider become cyber aware. Visit my website, bookmulcahy.com. Go to this YouTube channel. Take a picture of this. I've got about 20 of them out there now. I'm going to load another 50 over the next month. And they're all little 2 and 3 minutes about different types of cybersecurity, different types of threats. And if you subscribe, you'll be notified every time there's a new course out there. So again, I thank you. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be here. And hopefully you can take away some of these nuggets so that you can protect your identity, your family's identity, and your corporate identity. And again, I thank you for having us as a guest. Thank you. My pleasure.
Nice.